Hello there, I'm Paul Glumaz with Lyndon LaRouche, and today is the 27th of March, and we are definitely headed into a hot spring. Not and probably a cold summer. So tonight I want to ask the question, how much is your soul worth? And how much is the truth worth? Now, obviously, the British don't think these things are worth anything. And many, many other people have succumbed to pressures, blackmail, corruption, threats. And the entire British system is based on the principle that every man has his price. That's from Walpole in the 1700s. Or, if you prefer a more modern version, Winston in 1984. Every person has their breaking point. Or every person has their sexual weaknesses. Or every person has fears. In the case of Wilson in 1984, it was the fear of rats. And so they brought rats up to his face, and he lost it. And this is the British system. That's how the British system works. So when Nancy Pelosi said, "What do the Russians have? What does Putin have on Trump that he's not going to war with them?" She's expressing, her understanding of the system that she is in. It's a horrible system, and it doesn't exist for the benefit of the people in any way whatsoever. Now, we have been telling people forever, since the late 70s, that it's the British system which runs the world, not the United States. The United States is influenced by the British system. The United States is a battleground of operations run by the British system. But everybody says, no, that's no. It's the U.S. which is doing everything. Well, yeah, the U.S. is doing a lot, but what is running the U.S. to do those things is not the U.S. per se. Okay, it's the British system. So now it's coming out in the open. The British system is coming out in the open in their own name. They're having to come out in the open and run the operation themselves. And in so doing, they are exposing themselves. It's very important. The reason it's very important is that most people don't realize what's causing their problems. And if they don't know what's causing their problems and they get angry, what do? Do they go after the people that are causing their problems? No. They're more likely to bash their neighbors. But if they know how their problems are being created and what force is creating their problems and how those problems are being created deliberately, then they might not bash their neighbors anymore. They might not want to go to war with Russia anymore. They might not want to go to war with China anymore. They might not want to go to war with, period. They might want to go to war with the British. Don't bash your neighbor, bash the British. That's my motto. So that's where we are. Now, the Skripal affair was supposed to coincide with a chemical warfare attack allegedly by the Syrian and the Russians, and this was supposed to result in a military attack by the U.S. on Russian and Syrian positions in Syria. To the best of our knowledge, the best of my knowledge, the Russians got a hold of the ambassador, explained to him the situation. The ambassador got a hold of Russia, bypassed the State Department, got a hold of Dunford, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Dunford got through to Trump on this. And I think Pompeo was assigned to look into it. And essentially, Trump was being set up. And when Tillerson was making these comments, some time ago that the Russians are responsible for chemical warfare, when everybody in the world knows it wasn't the Russians who were responsible for chemical warfare, it was the jihadis who were stockpiling chemical warfare. The fact that Tillerson was saying that is another proof that he was operating within the policy. I don't know whether he was completely or not, but the fact he was acting like he was in preparation for in preparation for a war with Russia or a conflict with Russia. So this is very significant. So now what happened is the British have gone all out and pulled every string and gotten all these governments in Europe and the U.S. to expel Russian diplomats and consider terrorists. However, Trump didn't go all the way because he called Putin to congratulate him on his election, and he talked to Putin and said, we need to get a meeting soon so we can start talking about dealing with the nuclear arms race and dealing with Ukraine, Syria, and North Korea. Nonetheless, the pressure on the president is massive. Now, the biggest problem the president has in this is that the people who the Fox TV people and the Devin Nunes and Grassley and people like that who hate Obama because they think Obama's a socialist, a Marxist, a corrupter, a degenerate, destroying our country, because it's the evil left, against capitalism, blah 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 blah. They don't understand Obama was a total British asset, along with his controller, who was Valerie Jarrett. And they don't understand that he's still running the show from behind the scenes, or his apparatus is still running the show, in spite of the fact that he's not president. He's still involved. They don't understand where the directives are coming from, so they're confused. So when they're throwing the whole thing about, so when Mueller throws out the whole thing about when he indicted Manafort and opened up the whole can of worms on Uranium One, which just goes way back, they want you to think that Hillary was the real problem. That that Obama weren't tough with the Russians. They weren't tough. That's why all these problems existed. See. The Iran deal, they weren't tough with the Iranians, blah, 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 blah. So that's their mindset. So you got a president who is collaborating with these layers. They're the ones taking down, helping him take, or are involved in taking down. But they don't have a clue otherwise. So this is why you have a problem. You have a problem in that the Democrats are being run by the Obama operation and the Hillary operation. Hillary had her huge operation going into the 2008 election. Obama had his operation, which is the British operation, going into the 2008 election. Now you have a combined Obama-Hillary operation, which is one big British operation. What are they doing? They're trying to win. They're trying to take control of the Congress. They're running ex-CIA and ex-military intelligence people in a good chunk of the districts. They're trying to take over the Congress so that they can get, they can take over and go to war, and they can get rid of Trump in 2019. So this is what you're dealing with, and so they've got the Democratic Party, those that would want to work with Trump, to, for anything, whatever it is. They got them pinned down, and they got these, marches. They have these little marches about, guns are the problem, not the culture, not the deaf culture. That's the problem, the deaf culture, the culture of death. But no, it's the gun problem. So they're running all these operations, and what's worse, when a president leaves office, you're supposed to transfer your loyalty to the next president. Well, they're not. Most of the people in the government, I'm sure, have not transferred their loyalty. They're still loyal to Obama. and they're still running operations inside the administration. So the Trump administration is really doesn't function. That doesn't really exist yet. It's Trump in the tweets. Basically at this point, that's the administration. It's the tweets. It's the Twitter that keeps it going. And if you didn't have that, there wouldn't be any government. So this is the situation we're in. Okay. So now after he made the call to Putin to congratulate Putin, then the media came out with this leak showing a department of some department memorandum saying do not talk to Putin. Right? It was like this thing got leaked. Well, right after that, McMaster was gone, and Tillerson was gone. And who did he put in for Tillerson? Pompeo. Bomb Iran. Pompeo. Bomb Iran. That kind of character, like what's his name? John McCain used to sing. And then you have Bolton being put in as national security head. That guy never met a. That guy is xenophobic beyond belief. I mean, that guy is a total kill a commie for mommy all the way. It is a biography. Actually, his autobiography. He writes. He was in the arms control undersecretary in arms control, and he was having a meeting with the Russian counterparts in Moscow, and a major general said they were talking about the SDI, and the major general asked him, asked the U.S. entourage, do you know who actually created the SDI? And the general then said as well, it was this economist, American economist Lyndon LaRouche. And then Bolton writes that everybody thought it was funny that the Russians thought that, but they tried to keep their diplomatic cool. And then he says it's sort of very, that someone would believe something like that Lyndon LaRouche was the creator of the SDI, which he was. So this is the kind of person you're dealing with. But rather than focus on the personality, I will also bring up the other question: what difference does it make who you appoint if you can't control if the whole National Security Council with the Obama holdovers and the McMaster crowd, which was opposing, they were opposing Trump. They were opposing Trump on improving relations with Russia. And not only that, the McMaster crowd is the we think we can win the war crowd. We think we can win a nuclear war crowd. Well, they just got their ass handed to them on March 1st when Putin laid out that we have these new missiles and new technologies, and there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot win a nuclear war. Doesn't matter what you do, you cannot now and you cannot later win a nuclear war. You're going to all die, okay? If you try to win a nuclear war. And that's also a factor in this whole thing, because all their plans, all the best laid plans of mice and men off go a glade. Well, this time they off go a glade a big time. The trillions of dollars of plans off go a glade. And in this situation, as Robbie Burns would tell you, so who does he appoint? Bolton. Well, is he appeasing the right wing? Yeah, probably. But what else is who is Bolton? Well, he's just a real nasty character. So, I'm reminded of corporations that want to get rid of a lot of people. They send in the nasty manager, the nasty guy, So if he wants to clean out the National Security Department, Perhaps this was the right choice. I don't know. I don't think he's the right person for the job. But if he's going to clean out the place, but then there's who are you going to replace people with? Who out there? You're going to replace them with more nutcases that want to go to war? I don't know. But nonetheless. So then we have this whole incredible situation developing around a trade war. Donald Trump is talking about tariffs, and he proposed tariffs on aluminum and steel, and that got all mixed up because everybody and their uncle was saying, well, that you can't really do tariffs because it's going to hurt this person and that person is going to do this and that. The original proposal that I think Trump had, which was prevented by Mnuchin and Wall Street, was to have a border tax, where everything coming in gets taxed, and everything going out gets a tax credit. So the money that you make from the tax, you hand the goods going to the people exporting the goods. So you import, you get taxed, and you export, you get the tax credit. And the idea behind that is that if you're China and you're going to get taxed for exporting to the U.S., but you can recoup the tax if you come to the U.S. and set up a factory and export out from the U.S. So this is the kind of thing, and the Chinese want to do that. The Chinese want to use their capital to build up the United States. They want to build rail. They want to do all. Now the Chinese don't think economically the way the West does, the way Wall Street does. Wall Street will say, okay, you're going to build that high-speed rail. You're going to build that subway. That's expensive. That's expensive. You're going to tie up billions of dollars in long term. We want that money to be used in a more profitable, financially profitable way. In the gambling casino, in derivatives, in real estate bubbles and commodity bubbles and all that stuff, right? In the drug trade, that's very profitable. Money for the drug trade is very profitable. But the Chinese don't think that way. The way the Chinese say is, look, it costs a lot of money, but all that land along the way, you can build malls, you can build towns, you can build shopping. That land goes up in value far more than the cost of that rail. In other words, you're creating massive value alongside the subway system or the rail system. So since 2008, they built 25,000 high-speed kilometers of rail. That's about 15,000 miles of rail. So, but they don't look at it the same way. They don't see the cost of the rail by itself. They see what it does in terms of the expansion of the value of everything around you. And then you can have business, you can have factories, you can have all of that. The real estate, the increase of the real estate value just by putting a rail line through an inaccessible area is far in excess of the cost of building that rail line. So they'll come to the United States and they'll build our high-speed rail. And they'll say to the people, well, we want a piece of the land. We want to have, either lease or we want to have, you don't have to pay us. We'll pay for it. But we want some of the benefit from what's going to happen because we built the rail line. That's their economic thinking. It's a totally different mindset. So they're looking at the future that is being created by this. They're not looking at just the momentary monetary profit. But we got everybody in this country brainwashed self-brainwashed, Wall Street brainwashed, media brainwashed, economics curriculum brainwashed into thinking, they don't think that way. And if you can't think that way, you have no capacity for vision. We want to build this. Well, where are you going to get the money? God damn it, the government creates money every day to bail out the banks. Why can't we create the money for this? Oh, no, you can't do that. That's government interference in the marketplace. Well, shit, the government's interfering in the marketplace every day to bail out the banks and prop up Wall Street. Why is that? Why is that better? Why is that kind of government interference good, and the kind of government interference that's going to increase our living standards bad? You know. Well, no, you're communist. You're a socialist. You know. And I mean, I'm telling you, this thing is really, really messed up here. So Trump is having to deal with this, okay? So the Chinese are trying to work with Trump to help him figure out how he's going to deal with all this. And really, to be honest with you, ultimately the thing will come down. It's going to collapse, which is what it's supposed to do. The whole post-73, 71, 73 system of the floating exchange, which became this and became that, and the oil thing, and then the derivatives and the financial speculation and the bailouts, now the bail-ins, all of that is designed to fail in its original intention. Because the oligarchy never really wanted to have a lot of economic development. They didn't want to have an industrial society. They wanted to have a primitive pre-industrial, or at least small-scale industrial society, and with a lot less population. So why not design a system that at a certain point it collapses everybody and everything, and then we go back to the Middle Ages, or we have chaos. We have a period of chaos, and we have a period of warlords, and the population reduced by 3/4 and 4/5 or 6/7 or 7/8. You know, I mean, isn't that what we really should be doing? I mean, isn't that what it's all about? You know, I know all these people that already think that that's going to happen because they've already figured out that that's what the intention is. They're out there learning how to survive in the Cascade Mountains. You know, how to survive in a pre-agricultural mode. I met they charge $10,000 for that class. You know, I met those people. Okay, they actually believe that it's coming. That it has to come. It's, you know, because that's the way it's set up. Of course, you know, they're very optimistic, of course. And so anyhow, so in that situation, the Belt and Road has taken over the world. The Belt and Road has taken over the world. Wall Street ain't the big dog anymore. Everybody's oriented towards the Belt and Road. So it's not the same. It's not going to work. And they can't go with the nuclear war either. So they're screwed. So we're going to have the collapse, and we're going to have to make sure that the president is able to carry out the necessary policies in the collapse. Now, quickly, Kim Jong-un was met with Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping has now embraced Kim Jong-un. He's brought him under his wing. He's given him full security, support, and economic development. Hey, you're going to bomb Korea now? North Korea now? After this? Bolton, you're going to bomb North Korea now after this? You want to bomb China too. So this is huge. This means North Korea has agreed to come into the Belt and Road under the apron strings of Xi Jinping. And now they can go ahead and get rid of the missiles. They can go ahead and do all of that. And now it's a question of whether the United States wants to give up the whole game of North Korea axis of evil, North Korea axis of evil. So I'm going to stop there and see you next time.